Hello, everybody. My name is Nicholas James Amston, and welcome to Fat Kid Football Network. Today, we're going to be talking about the running backs that were taken in this NFL draft, the top 5 running backs to be exact, and we're just going to go over some of the things that I think that they can do with their career and just kind of predictions similar to the last quarterback video I made. You should watch that one. It was really interesting. I love talking about quarterbacks. It's probably my favorite position. But we're just going to go through here and talk about some of the running backs, top 5 again, that were taken in this year's NFL draft. And those guys would be Josh Jacobs, Miles Sanders, Darrell Henderson, David Montgomery, and Devin Singletary. So let's get right into it with Josh Jacobs. He was taken 24th overall in the first round by the Oakland Raiders. Kind of, honestly, in my opinion, replacement for Marshawn Lynch, who just recently retired a couple of days ago, I believe, or a week or so ago at this point. He is from a hometown of Tulsa, Oklahoma. He went to Alabama, as we all know. Played with a couple of running backs that had come through there, such as Damian Harris, who was drafted in the later rounds of this draft, as well as Bo Scarborough, who was taken last year. And he was kind of a running back by committee with those kind of guys, but he kind of stuck out as the best running back in this draft class, and honestly from Alabama last year. I really think that Josh Jacobs is probably one of the better running backs of this draft, and it was kind of a weak running back draft class. There was some guys in the later round who we'll talk about who I think could possibly have better careers than Josh Jacobs. So let's just get in kind of his stats. He ran 120 times for 640 yards, 5.3 yards per carry, which is very impressive, 11 touchdowns, 20 catches for 247 yards, and this was a really impressive stat to me. 20 catches for 247 is a lot, in my opinion, for 3 touchdowns. And then in measurables, he's 5'10", 216, 21 years old. So kind of just like the average kind of running back, honestly. And you kind of look at these other ones, yeah, he's kind of the average. But a pro about Josh, in my opinion, is he's productive. Every 10 touches, he averaged a touchdown, which is amazing. I think he's extremely productive, and when he gets the ball, he's getting to the end zone. He's getting a first down. He's just powerful. He's a strong back who I think that is gonna be very good, and we'll get kind of more into that in a second here. And I think that he's very impressive, and when you see him run, sometimes you're just like, wow, that kid's good. And a con about Josh would be, I believe that there isn't really a lot that are cons with Josh, in my opinion, but something that I kind of saw sometimes is on long runs he gets kind of caught from behind, and I think that he doesn't have good stamina. And I think this is something, though, that can be addressed. But he kind of just seems like a very all-around balanced running back. But it is kind of the stamina downfield on the longer runs. I think he's going to have a career similar to LeGarrette Blount. He's obviously not as much as a power back as Blount is, but kind of a career that's similar, where he might get some starting years, he might get some backup years, but I think overall he's going to be a pretty memorable running back who we're kind of going to look at as like, oh, I'm glad my team signed him. If he's not on the Raiders 5 years from now, I'm glad, because I think he's serviceable. I think he's a serviceable running back, and I think that's a very fair assessment of him, and I think that he's talented. But I think he's very balanced, I think that honestly he, 5-6 years from now, he might be a backup or a third down kind of goal line guy, because I think that he's going to be used really well in the goal line. He's going to be someone that I think we see vulture a lot of touchdowns, and I think he's going to be like a pick in fantasy that's going to be like, do I sign him, because what if they don't get to the goal line? I think he'll start for the Raiders this year, because I can't really think of their other running backs unless they bring Doug Martin back. But I can't really think of any of their other running backs that could start other than him. And I think he will start, and I think we'll see him be very productive. I could see him this year maybe getting 800, 900 yards if he gets the touches, and I honestly think he'll lead the league. That's a bold statement. I think, all right, a bold prediction is that I think that he might lead the league in touchdowns this year. But yeah, I think that he'll be a really good serviceable back for the next couple of years to come. And the second running back taken in the draft was taken 53 overall by the Eagles, Miles Sanders. He was born in Pittsburgh, but he went to Penn State. He ran 220 times for 1,274 yards, 9 touchdowns, and 24 catches for 139 yards. He measures at 5'11", 215 pounds, 21 years old. Obviously, that's not a measurement. And Miles, I'm a little mixed about. I think that he's kind of like a Saquon Barkley light, like a Lite light, where I don't think he's nearly as impressive as Saquon Barkley. Obviously, coming out of college or anything like that, I don't think he's that impressive. I think honestly, this was an overdraft for Miles Sanders. I honestly am just not a fan of him, and maybe that's bias, but I just don't think he's that impressive. I think in the way that I say he's a Saquon Barkley light, I think that he's talented, but I don't think that he's gonna really be the Eagles' answer at running back. And I think that we'll see the Eagles draft another running back as early as next year. I think that he's kind of like a jack of all trades, in which he can catch a little bit as he played wide receiver. He can run. He's a little powerful. He's a little fast. He's all these little things. He's balanced, sort of like Josh, but at a lower level than Josh, in my opinion. And I think that 5 years from now, we're going to see him possibly just out of the league, or maybe as like a backup, maybe a third down running back kind of guy. I don't think this is going to be a guy that you'll see, running all three downs. I think that he's very third down running back type kind of guy. Not to knock him, I don't think this was a good pick. I think the guy after this was a better pick, and he was taken way later. We're going to go to the next running back taken by the Los Angeles Rams. He was taken 70th overall in the third round, Darrell Henderson. And I actually made a video about him as well. And again, maybe I'm biased towards him, but I think he's one of the best running backs that was taken in this year's draft. And I think maybe even the best. It sucks to see him go to the Rams because I hate the Rams. But he's from Batesville, Mississippi. He went to Mississippi. His stats last year, and he did this basically the last 2 years, he ran 214 times for 1,909 yards. He averaged 8.9 yards per carry, ran for 22 touchdowns, caught the ball 19 times for 295 yards and 3 touchdowns. And I talked about productivity with Josh, but this man is more productive than you could imagine, and I think that why he was taken so late was because of what the school he went to and level of competition. He's 5'9", 200 pounds. And I went more in depth into him and everything, but I think he's the most explosive running back. And then that means when he gets to the right place, he turns a small play into a big play. And he can catch, honestly, a little bit. And he honestly reminds me more of Saquon Barkley than Miles Sanders does. Which is kind of a bold statement, I guess. But he, I think, is going to be a running back that we look on as a steal. He's with the Rams, so he's probably not going to get that many touches because Todd Gurley, unless Todd Gurley's injury is worse than people think. But I think Darrell Henderson is going to be a running back that we see 5 years from now with a ceiling of being a starter, a 3-down back, or possibly being a backup. And I think that maybe the reason he would be a backup is that he can't find holes very well. He's kind of like me at night if I need to plug my phone into the wall, but the lights are off, and I need to plug the power cube in, and I'm kind of looking for the outlet, but I kind of miss it a bunch. But then eventually when I hit it, I get it in, and it's great. And that's kind of what watching Darrell Henderson is. Obviously he's productive as all hell, but sometimes you just see him run right into the lineman and it's weird. But he gets out of it. So it's kind of like, well, what do you do about that? If he's getting out of the lineman, hitting the lineman's and not finding the holes exactly, it's kind of hard to say. So that's why I think that maybe we could see him as a backup, but I don't think he'll be out of the league in 5 years. And then the next pick in the draft was taken just 3 picks after Darrell. And there was actually 3 running backs taken within 4 picks of this draft. And it'll be nice to see kind of like the comparisons that we can create for these running backs. And this guy was kind of a replacement for Jordan Howard. His name's David Montgomery. He was born in Cincinnati, Ohio, and he went to Iowa for school. He had 257 rushes for 1,216 yards, 4.7 yards per carry, 11 touchdowns, 22 catches for 157 yards. He's 5'11 and 216 pounds. Something that I can say positively about David is he has great vision and can create holes in a way that, like, he is so powerful that he finds holes about as good as Le'Veon Bell or David Johnson. And he is so good at just finding where to go when he needs to go there. And I think that he'll fit Matt Nagy's offense in Chicago very well. And it'll be really interesting to see how he develops into kind of a rotational guy for Tariq Cohen. It'll be interesting to see how he develops into like a rotational guy for Tariq Cohen, because I think that's what he'll kind of be throughout his career, is kind of a rotational guy. I don't think he's a 3-down back, but I think that he'll be a very talented rotational type guy. And the reason that is because he's kind of slow. And I think at that age, it's kind of hard to teach people how to be faster and kind of increase their speed. He takes a lot of punishment given by himself by making the holes that he does, and that kind of worries me about longevity. And he kind of relies on his power too much, and he doesn't use his elusiveness that I believe he actually has. When I watch him, I think he has more elusiveness that he lets on, but he just kind of wants to barrel through people and just knock people over, on the second level. And he could be using, taking care more of his body. So I think that he might be a backup or rotational guy in the next couple of years. The 5th pick, who was third round, 74 overall, was Devin Singletary from Florida. He went to FAU, and in 2017 he was actually more healthy than this last year. I believe he played 3-4 more games. But this year he did also do very well. He ran 261 times for 1,300 yards, 1,348 yards, 22 touchdowns, 6 catches for 36 yards. He's 5'9 and 200 pounds. He went to the Bills, so I think that's a very good place for him to kind of start his career, because he gets to learn from 2 of, honestly, the most underrated and best running backs there is in the league, and Frank Gore and LaShawn McCoy. And it's so weird to me how Frank Gore is underrated, because I think that a lot of people who watch football know Frank Gore, but if you're not like a big football fan, you're not going to know Frank Gore. And I think that he'll learn a lot from those 2. And a pro about Devin is he's electric. He's honestly kind of like LaShawn McCoy, kind of like a human joystick kind of guy. He's elusive as all hell, and he's just great at just kind of getting through things. And now you see him, then you don't, and he's just electric. And when you watch him, it's just impressive, and you're like, wow, he made that cut, he made that jump cut, he juked that guy out, he spun on that guy. And it's just impressive. It really is something to like just behold and watch and appreciate. I think that he's an exceptional player in that. But for being so elusive, he actually is not that fast. He is so elusive, but sometimes you see him get caught by the slowest of linebackers. He'll get around someone, but they'll catch him from behind. He doesn't have a good start and go. He's not very fast. He ran one of the slower times in the combine. And on the field, you can kind of see that slowness. And I think that's why, even though his numbers were good this year and last year, that's kind of why he dropped. And also because the level of competition, and that's kind of similar for all these last 3 running backs. They did not have that good competition. Iowa, Mississippi, FAU just don't have that good of competition. But I think Devin is actually going to surprise a lot of people. And I say even 2-3 years down the line, he'll be a starter on the Bills. I think LeSean and Frank by that time will be gone, and it'll kind of become his backfield, and he'll kind of take that over. And I think that'll be really interesting to see that kind of development of a player. It's always great to see a guy kind of learn from greats and then make himself a great. And I think that's what we'll see from him. And that about wraps it up for this video, guys. We talked about a lot of good prospects and players that I think are, from okay. I think the running back class overall wasn't that amazing, and I don't think these are going to be guys that are going to be like the greats or anything like that, but I think we saw some very solid running backs be taken this year. Honestly, my favorite running back from this class was either Darrell Henderson or Devin Singletary. I think that they're very underrated guys who are going to do a lot better than people think. I think Josh Jacobs is going to probably be the most consistent running back, meaning that I think he'll have maybe the longest career where he's making good, money, good yards on the field, everything like that. But I think Darrell Henderson and Devin Singletary are going to look back on this draft and see that they were probably the best picks in this draft for running backs. And then as far as Miles Sanders, I'm not the biggest fan of him, as I said. I don't think that he's going to be someone that we even kind of remember 5-6 years from now. But thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope I didn't piss off too many Eagles fans. I like the Eagles. No hate against them. I just don't like this pick. But I hope you have a great day. I hope your family's good. And I hope your girlfriend or boyfriend smells nice. Thank you for watching, and have a wonderful day.
Face, I hit him with the style and grace, and watch the ankles break. Whoa, whoa. I know you wish I would fade away, but I got more to say. Lord, they pray.
Look out. I think Kermit likes you.
Hey yo, I like them big. I like them chunky.